Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is chapter 39 of Cute Little Love Letters, and this one is titled Market Meat. It'd probably be close to that, your dad said as he got out and closed his driver's side door. I'm at UA now, you said proudly to her. Here, of course. Oh my, she said as she pressed her hands to her round cheeks with excitement. That's very exciting. Are you enjoying your classes? Oh yes, very much so, you replied politely. And a classmate who I'm close with will be coming later today. I'll be sure to bring him to your stall. He'd love to see your bonsai trees. Ah, she said with a twinkle in her eye. Do you remember the ginkgo tree that I was cultivating? Yes, you said with surprise. I remember asking you about it last time I was here at the markets. Yes, that's the one. It's grown so much. In fact, it's ready for sale now. You need to come and see it before it sells. I'm sure that you'll love what I've done with it. Okay, you nodded with delight. I'll help Mum unload and then set up, and then I'll come over. Okay, dear, I'll be here, she said with a short little wave before turning to go back inside her stall. All of your old favourites are still here, your mum said as she walked up beside you with a box of items. We still have the stall next to Mr. Tenura. Does he still sell his knitted and crocheted items? You asked, taking the box from her. Yes, he does, your mum said with a smile. He'll be very excited to see you again. Oh, I can't wait, you replied with childlike excitement. Mrs. Dota still has her second-hand bookstall here too, your dad said, walking up with a box as well. I can't believe she's still in business. Books will withstand the test of time, you said knowingly. Those who read books know. Okay, if you say so, your dad said with a little chuckle as you all headed to your usual stall. You got busy helping your mum put everything on the display shelves and helped set up the display stand out the front and then hung fairy lights around, and by the time that you were done by 8 a.m, the markets were starting to come to life. Yin, your mum called. Would you be a darling and get yourself an aya tea from Mr. Furuo's stall? It's where it usually is, she called to you. Oh yes, I'd love one, you called back as you walked to the back of the stall to find her to get some money. She handed you some small change and you left then, walking down the stall line to where Mr. Furuo had his coffee stall set up. You could smell all kinds of wonderful aromas coming from his stall and slowed as you got closer. Heavens! He gasped when he saw you approach. He was so surprised he needed to do a double take. You giggled. Hello, sir, you greeted politely. Sir, indeed! Miss Yin, how is it that you have come to be such a fine young lady in such a short space of time? He asked, his moustache wiggling as he spoke. I believe it was only one trip around the sun that I saw you last. I think it was 2, sir, you replied with another giggle. Mercy, he cried. That long? No wonder you have grown so. Thank you, sir. I'm now in the hero course at UA. A classmate of mine is coming soon, so I'll introduce him to you, you said with a giant grin. He, you say? Mr. Furuo asked, sensing something special about this male classmate. When I meet he, do I refer to him as a suitor to thee, Miss Yin? Oh, you replied bashfully. I am fond of him, sir. Yes, this is true. And he's fond of me too. Well, I say, Mr. Furuo replied with surprised amusement. I shall see to it that he is promptly assessed for his position. Oh, no, sir, please don't, you chuckled with embarrassment. My parents have met him. Wouldn't that be enough? I consider myself a surrogate grandparent, Mr. Furuo tutted. I will also assess for the suitability to my Miss Yin. You sat upon my knee when you were but a little fairy, he said fondly. I must see to it that your happiness is secured. That's very kind of you, sir, you said with a small curtsy. My mother has sent me to buy a tea for herself and I from your stall. May I be able to get a honeysuckle tea for myself and a passiflora and sencha for my mother? Oh, but of course, he replied. But buy? I think not. You take that money straight back to your mother with my gratitude for allowing me to see you once again, he said kindly, a little twinkle in his eye as he got to making the teas. You thanked him kindly again and continued to chat while you waited for him to finish, and then you headed back to the stall with your teas. The next hour and a bit was a little busy, but you kept up with it, serving people, answering questions and sorting payments until a very familiar face popped in through the door. You were standing at the cash register with your phone in hand, about to reply to Danky's message of "I'm here," until you heard a noise and looked up. "Hey," he greeted with a bright grin. "Danky," you replied with an equally bright smile, and quickly walked around the small desk to walk over to him. Before even thinking, you reached up and hugged him at the same time that he opened his arms for a hug, and the two of you embraced there in the doorway. Your mum, who was down the back of the stall, felt a big shift in aura and stopped what she was doing to turn around and see what was going on, and that's when she saw you and Danky embracing in the doorway. She was a little surprised to see you hugging him, and took a second to steady herself before walking over to greet Danky too. He saw her coming and quickly let you go, which you wondered why he had done so hurriedly, but when you heard your mum coming, you were glad he had let you go. "Mum, Danky's here," you said, a little flustered at her having seen him hugging you in broad daylight. "Hello, Danky," your mum said kindly. "Would you and Yin like to walk around the markets together?" your mum offered. "It's about time Yin had a break. She's been working hard all morning." "I bet she has," Danky said with a loving look in his eye. "She's a hard worker, Miss Yin's mum." You and he shared a look, and your mum held back a smirk before letting you go and watching you head out the door. "These two lovebirds," she thought as she watched you both go, walking side by side, closely but not holding hands. The first stall you took him to was the one next to you, with Mr. Tenura and his knitting and crocheting. "I've basically grown up here at the markets," you said to Danky as you headed for the door to his stall. "I know a lot of people, and I want to introduce you to them. This is Mr. Tenura," you called as you stepped in. "What lovely voice is calling my name?" an elderly voice asked from a rocking chair at the back of the stall. "It's me, Yin," you called back with a smile. "It could have been no one less," he said sweetly as he turned in his chair to see you. "Miss Yin, you look lovely," he said softly. "And who have we here?" "Oh, hello, sir. My name's Danky Kaminari. I'm a close friend of Yin's," Danky said as he stepped forwards and reached his hand out to Mr. Tenura's. "A pleasure, young man," Mr. Tenura said with a grin as he shook Danky's hand. "Miss Yin here used to model my knitted scarves and hats when she was younger," he said with a faraway look in his eye. "People used to come from all over to get my winter wear. Not many people come to the winter markets now, but my knitted toys are selling well." "Oh," Danky said when he looked up and around at the shelves of knitted and crocheted animals. "Could I buy one, sir?" "Oh, I would be honoured if you would, young man. Which one takes your fancy?" Mr. Tenura asked. Which do you like, Yin?" Danky asked. "Which do I like?" you asked with surprise. "But there's so many cute ones." "Pick one," Danky said with a grin. You thought for a while as you looked around, finally picking one that you loved, and Danky quickly paid for it. "This is from me to you," he said as he handed it to you. "And thank you, sir, for making it," he added, addressing Mr. Tenura. Cutie patootie alert, am I right? Chapter 40 coming tomorrow. I'll see you then.